Most of them are all fairly similar. There's some that need a little bit different, requirements as far as temperature goes. These right here are Apitobates Anthonyi, and these are raised up from some tadpoles that somebody actually that was on the East Coast. They came here. I guess they had relatives, but when that big hurricane came through, and they just left the tadpoles, so I went ahead and raised them up, but there's 15 in here. I still have some at home that are not quite this size yet. Mainly I fed these pinhead crickets and melanogaster fruit flies, and then as they got bigger, these will take Tye-Dyed fruit flies and 1/8-inch crickets. This locale is Santa Isabella, and these are from Ecuador and Peru. Common name is Anthony's dart frog or phantasmal dart frog. Temperature on these is 65 to 80, but more so like in the mid to low mid 70s. But if they get over 85 or over, then that can be lethal. So these are, a lot of the temperature is very critical on dart frogs. So you have to research the species you're keeping, but most of the time 70 to 80 is fairly optimal for them. I would say like mid 70s. They don't need UVB. I mean, you can put UVB on them, but that requires a screen, and these like at 80 to 100% humidity. These only get about 1 inch, so they stay small. They're a good beginner dart frog. And again, melanogaster fruit flies, Tye-Dyed fruit flies, and pinhead to 1/8-inch crickets. And these can live over 10 years in optimal captive care, but 5 to 8 is more the norm. They say you can put 2 to 3 in a 10-gallon, but preferably a little bit larger tank would be more optimal. 6 to 8 of them can go in a 20 high, which me personally, if I was going to keep this species again and breed them, that's what I would do, because they're very social. The males are very bold. They call all the time, and when these get a little bit more size on them and when they start reaching sexual maturity, these will call all the time, and frog calls are really cool. I mean, there's some frogs that are pretty obnoxious, their call. But yeah, these are really cool. Cage decor, basically pothos, philodendron, just your typical terrarium plants. These aren't real big, so you don't need, these won't damage the leaves. There's some plants that are kind of fragile, and a lot of times frogs will lay on them and it kind of crush them in that, but that's more so for the larger species like the Tinctorus and the Phyllobates like Terribilis and Bicolor. And mainly what we have in here, I'm not sure exactly what kind of plants these are, but something like this is fine. And bromeliads, obviously, because dart frogs love bromeliads, and they'll hang out in the leaves. And if you do breed them, they usually lay their eggs in either a leaf litter or on a leaf, and the males will guard them, and once they hatch, the tadpoles will go on the male's back, and then he will transfer them. In the wild, it'd be like a stream or a small pool of water. On these, when I bred them, I usually just use like a petri dish, and I put a little bit of water in there, and as the male deposit them, then I would take them and put them in a separate container for the tadpoles to morph out. These guys will,
they'll spring out.
Yeah, they're giant, and they're fragile, so you do not want to handle them if at all possible. And if you do, I would say wear nitrile gloves, not latex, because a lot of them have powder, and some people are allergic to latex. So if I ever handle any of my frogs, have to, I usually use the nitrile gloves.
Yeah, they're like, huh? What is this? Freedom!
Okay, just gotta watch. Nope, nope, no you don't. There you go. Then you want to spray them. Depending on my dark frog cages, are usually I have glass lids so the moisture retains in there. But I spray them every few days, just enough to wet the leaves, and that's it. If you're using UVB with a screen, then you want to mist them probably daily. Just monitor it, because if you got condensation on the sides, the humidity's pretty good. But you just definitely want to, monitor that, because if they get too dry, they will die pretty quick. Like I said, they're pretty fragile. But then on some of the other dark frogs that we have, like the bumblebees, those are the leucomellas, and those are a good beginner dark frog. Basically the same care, same temperature, same way with, these are mantellas. Mantellas are a little bit more picky about their temperature. And then the Azurius, the blue ones, those are pretty common. Those are a good beginner dark frog. And the powder blues, and then there's just a whole bunch of different dark frogs. Now, this is kind of a touchy subject, but a lot of people that are really serious into the dark frogs, they do not like hybridizing different locales, because a lot of the dark frogs are critically endangered, if not extinct, in the wild. So they try to preserve that bloodline in case they decide to try to reintroduce them. They don't want something that has different, locales and stuff like that, which I never did it. I know there's some people that do, but I mean, that's a personal thing. To me, I think it's unethical, but that's just me.
Thanks for sharing your poison and dark frog and arrow frog knowledge with us, Bill.
Well, no problem. Y'all have a great day.